Tired of that bulky knife block taking up precious counter space? Let's start with hack number 1. This is as easy as grabbing a stack of books. Seriously, just line up some books on your countertop and slide your knives in between the pages. This works great, looks super creative, and adds a little personality to your kitchen counters. You can use a bookend or other heavy object on each end to keep the book standing upright. Hack number 2 uses one of my favorite vintage finds, an old tin. Pick up a tin at the thrift store and fill it with bamboo skewers. And that's really it. You can tuck your knives down into the skewers and it can really hold a lot. This is a really simple organizing solution for all of your knives that can even be swapped out seasonally, so you have a tin for each season. Can you imagine how cute this would be with a fun Christmas tin in December or a floral one in the spring? What a great way to repurpose your tin collection and add a little charm to your countertop. And now for hack number 3, you're going to want to grab a scrap piece of wood that's just a little taller than your longest knife. You'll want to paint or stain your board and then grab a roll of 3/4 inch edge banding. 3/4 inch edge banding and cut strips to the height of your board. Use your iron to activate the adhesive on the edge banding and attach one strip on each end of your board, then add divider strips in between for each knife slot. We're going to go ahead and stack 2 more strips on top of the 2 ends as well as the center divider. This raises up the front just a little bit so your knives can slide down inside. And now for the front, I found 3 wooden paint stir sticks in my garage that perfectly matched my edge banding, so I thought I would repurpose these. But lattice strips or other trim from the store would also work for this part. You can leave these raw like I did or paint them to match your kitchen. Now stick your board to the wall with some strong command strips so it won't tip over, and you can slide your knives down into the slot. This is a slim, budget-friendly way to store your knives and really save on counter space. Who knew knife storage could be this fun, thrifty, and beautiful, right?
This is a great space-saving technique. I picked up these containers at Dollar Tree. They can be found in the travel section, and you get 3 for $1.25. The first thing I'm going to do is use some nice and strong super glue or E6000 and attach the magnets to the bottom of each one of the containers. While that's drying, I'm going to upcycle an old picture frame. On the back of this frame, I am going to add some magnets. Again, these are nice and strong so that this frame isn't going anywhere. Now I'm going to use these glittery black stickers I found just to put the word spices on the bottom of the frame. The lids of these jars are just white plastic lids, so I'm using a Sharpie to write the name of spices that I use most often right on top. Now it's time to fill up the jars. I'm using a funnel for the more fine spices, otherwise I can just pour them right in. Now it's time to arrange it on my fridge. I'm going to put up the frame first where I want it. This is on the side of my fridge, right next to my counter. Really easy to access when I'm cooking. And then I can just stick the jars right on the fridge inside the frame. The frame is just a nice decorative way to keep everything organized. I love having these right at my fingertips instead of having to dig through a cabinet. I'm able to buy my spices in bulk and just put a small amount into these jars and then use them as I'm cooking.
Take 2 wire cabinet shelves and 2 plastic bins. Bend the legs of the shelves towards the center. Place wire shelves in the rectangular bins. Place storage container lids in the grooves to make them accessible. Now you have the perfect plastic storage container organization. Take 2 wire shower caddies and weave them together, top pieces towards each other. They should meet at the edges of the bottom. Use zip ties to attach them to each other and on the sides to keep them connected. Cut the zip tie tails. Remove all pans from cooking storage and place shower caddies. Now you have the perfect storage for cooking pans, baking sheets, and cutting boards. Take wire shelves and use them for more efficient storage for your dinner plates and bowls. Take tiered shelves and make all your tumblers and mugs easier to find.
Are you looking for some fun and functional ways to spruce up your kitchen? Look no further than these 2 very simple and affordable DIYs to help with kitchen organization. First, I applied a line of hot glue to the bottom edge of the first cutting board. With the baseboard flipped upside down, I carefully pressed the glued edge onto the base until it was properly secured. I repeated this step with the other cutting board to create the other side of the kitchen caddy. Next, I applied glue to the cutting board edges and attached the right side securely. Then, I repeated this with the other side to complete the main structure. For the last step, it was time to create the handle for easy carrying. Slide your dowel into the holes of the cutting boards to determine how long you need the dowel to be. I marked the cut point and began to saw the dowel carefully using a small handsaw. There you have it, your beautiful, cute, and organizational kitchen caddy. Don't you love a functional product? The second DIY for your kitchen is super simple but extremely functional. To create my ledge, I measured the width of the inside edge of the photo frame and marked it along the wooden piece. Using an X-Acto knife, I carefully creased the wood until it was easy to snap. Using your hot glue gun, carefully apply a line along the edge of the wood piece. Adhere your wood to the inside base of the photo frame to create a ledge. Next, flip your photo frame to the other side and use the leftover scrap wood to create the stand portion of the project, and carefully secure the piece to the back side of the frame in the center. There you have it, a perfectly made cookbook stand for way less.
To begin my project, I took this vintage washboard, but I did want to tack in the nails just a little bit. They had come loose and it was a little bit wobbly. So I just used a hammer to tack in the nails to make it more solid and secure. Once my washboard was ready to go, I decided I didn't want to paint it or anything. I liked the rustic finish. So I just measured where I'm going to be placing some chicken wire. So I measured the width and the length, and then I took a large piece of chicken wire and cut it down to size after measuring that as well. I did use a pair of heavy-duty tin snip scissors to cut through the chicken wire. And then once my piece was cut to size, I was able to place it over top of my washboard in the area where the glass washboard would have been before. To attach my chicken wire to the back of the washboard, I used a crown stapler. This one here is a battery operated one. You could use a manual one as well. It really doesn't matter what kind of stapler you use. You just want to make sure that your staples go all the way through. And you want to make sure that you have your staple on one side of the chicken wire so it's actually holding it in place. Once I've placed the chicken wire on and around the frame of the washboard, I do want to make sure that I staple it as well to the middle pieces. This will just make the chicken wire extra secure and not so floppy. Then once I've gone around with enough staples, I do want to make sure that I cut off any rough or sharp edges of chicken wire that is overhanging on the outside of my washboard. I just don't want this to catch on anything in my kitchen or poke myself accidentally. To finish off and create a nice unique look for the top of my washboard, I did find this large burlap ribbon, and it actually fit perfectly in this top cutout hole. So I just cut a piece to size, and then again using my crown stapler, I stapled it onto the back of the washboard. With this step complete, I could then go ahead and get ready to hang it in my kitchen. To hang my measuring spoons from the washboard, I found these S hooks that would hook onto the chicken wire and as well onto my measuring spoons. So I hung it in a spot in my kitchen where it'd be convenient. Then hanging my measuring cups with twine from the S hooks, I could then hang them from my new measuring spoon rack. I did play around a little bit in my kitchen with this rack and tried a few different spaces to see where I would like it and where it would make sense. But actually, I did find that I enjoyed it more having it on my counter because it does stand up nicely here and it was actually very convenient. But not only that, it also functions as a little bit of farmhouse decor as well as being functional for my kitchen space. My measuring spoons are so pretty. They're ceramic and I love them. And I'm so happy that I can actually have them on display now. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for tuning in to Home Talk.